I start this Japan trip in Hiroshima, but for my first day, I'm actually not going to explore the city center. Since there is a forecast of rain in the coming days, I want to make the most of the good weather today to go on a nearby day trip and for some outdoor activities.
Good morning from Hiroshima. It's around 6 a.m. right now and I'm at Hiroshima Station. Today my plan is to go over to Miyajima. I want to go there as early as possible to avoid the crowd. To get to Miyajima Island, you first have to take the Sanyo line from Hiroshima Station over to Miyajima Guchi Station. That's where the ferry station is at. And then you'll take the ferry to the island.
Please change to the JR West Miyajima Ferry at Miyajima Guchi. Thank you.
After making it over to Miyajima Guchi, the ferry station is only around a 5-minute walk away. I'm going to take the 7:05 ferry, which is the second earliest ferry of the day.
Looks like the ferry is here already, and you can see the sky slowly start to light up. I boarded the ferry and it's going to depart in a couple of minutes. The ferry ticket there costs 200 yen, but every tourist has to pay an extra 100 yen fee for Miyajima Island itself.
Welcome aboard the JR West Japan Miyajima Ferry.
When you board the ferry, there's an indoor section with heating, I guess, but I'm here on the outside because you get this amazing ocean view. It looks like the sky is starting to clear up just a tiny bit, slowly, gradually. It was raining this morning and hopefully it will stop raining later. So, good morning from Miyajima. The first thing I'm going to do in Miyajima is of course head over to the shrine, to the famous red torii gate before all the other tourists come. Miyajima really is very calm and peaceful in the morning. I can see the torii gate over there.
This torii gate is part of the Itsukushima Shrine, which is actually also the official name of this island. The more common name Miyajima literally just means Shrine Island. The island has been a very important site in Shintoism since as early as the 6th century. The Itsukushima Shrine itself was later built in the 12th century as a more official place of worship.
I absolutely love the atmosphere of this shrine in the morning. You can hear the waves, you can feel that tranquility. I like how the entire shrine looks like it's floating in the water. I think when it's low tide, there will actually be a sandy path over here and you can walk up to that torii gate.
Since the island is a sacred site, the Itsukushima Shrine was built over the water to separate the common world from the world of the gods. In the past, the only way to enter the shrine was by boat, going through the giant torii gate.
I feel like a place like Miyajima is a perfect example on why people should stop going to the most popular locations in Japan, the most popular cities, Kyoto, Osaka, Tokyo. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend that Miyajima is a hidden gem or something. It really isn't. It's still one of the most visited areas in the Chugoku region. But compared to places like Fushiminari Taisha, compared to the shrines and temples in those most popular cities, this place definitely feels calm, less touristy in a way. Sitting here by the water with some sunshine, the blue of the sea, that beautiful red torii gate glowing in the morning sun, the greenery around here, all these amazing colors in front of me. Honestly, I can't ask for much more. As with anywhere in Japan, my suggestion is to come as early as possible. Catch the first boat over here, catch the first train over here. Yes, it might be tiring, and I know that not everybody can wake up this early to visit a site, but your experience will be infinitely better without that many people around. Even if you're here just around 9 o'clock, all the school groups and tour groups will be here already. So just that 1 hour earlier makes a huge difference. And now I'm going to head to a Buddhist temple in this area, Daishoin. Other than the typical Buddha statues you'll see in any Buddhist temple, here in Daishoin there are two other very unique statues you'll find around the entire complex: Jizo statues and Rakan statues. Rakan refers to a monk who is the disciple of Buddha. As you go up the hill, you will see hundreds of Rakan statues.
Rakan statues are commonly displayed in either groups of 18 or 500, depicting a core group or larger assembly of Buddha's disciples who have reached enlightenment. Here in Daishoin, you will see the display of Yohyaku Raken, 500 Raken. Each statue is completely unique in its posture and expression. They are not meant to have a perfect or elegant design, which represents the idea that the journey to enlightenment is diverse, and not everyone is taking the same path.
The other type of statue on the slightly cuter side are the Jizo statues.
Jizo is a very prominent figure in Mahayana Buddhism. Here in Japan, Jizo is known as the guardian of children, travelers, and even expectant mothers. That's why the statues often have a childlike, happy appearance. While the Raken statues are usually grouped together, you can see the Jizo statues scattered throughout the temple.
The most unique thing about the statues in this temple, I mean you'll notice it immediately, is that they're all wearing little red hats.
There is a folktale that says this tradition was started by an elderly couple who placed a hat on a statue to keep it warm in the winter snow. But at the same time, the color red is also believed to ward off evil and demons. So in other temples in Japan, you might find the statues in red bibs instead of red hats for the same reason.
Now it's become a tradition and the hats are made and donated by different people visiting the temple. I mean, most of them are red, but there are also green ones, yellow ones, different colors. Similar to Nara Park, Miyajima is also very famous for its deer. The deer in Nara Park are absolutely terrifying creatures. I don't know why people think they're polite or cute. The deers here on Miyajima Island, I think they're more chill, they're more relaxed. They're just minding their own business. I don't know why they're all crowded on this one staircase. Another great place to have a short stroll on the hill is Momiji Dani Park. The name of the park literally means red leaves, but unfortunately since I'm here in the middle of December, I think most of the red leaves are gone already. You can still see some, but I bet if you're here in the right season, during the right time, it'll be completely covered in red. Other than going to see the Itsukushima Shrine, I barely did any research about Miyajima Island, so I didn't know this, but there is a ropeway that can bring you to the summit. The ropeway is not cheap, it's 2,000 yen, or you can hike 2.5 kilometers up to the summit yourself. I think I'm going to try and attempt that. I'm seeing many elderly people do it. If they can do it, why can't I? I do really enjoy hiking, so I'm going to try this, and at the end I'll let you know if it's worth it or not, or if you should just take the ropeway. Let's go. The view up there better be worth it because this is not an easy hike. This is not a walk in the park. I think I'm halfway there right now. Whew, it's really tiring. Even though the hike is very difficult, the trail is actually pretty well maintained. You have steps on the path the entire way. It looks like the trees above are getting thinner, so this is a good sign. Just on the trail, I saw a couple carrying 3 kids while walking down. My goodness, that's really impressive. If they can carry 3 kids while doing this trail, what excuse do I have for not making it? I think I finally made it. Wow. I think it took me around 1 hour and 15 minutes to get up here. But in the end, looking at this view, looking at this spectacular landscape makes it all worth it. From the bottom of the mountain, it's 2.5 kilometers. From the ropeway station to the summit, it's 700 meters. So the ropeway saves you 1.8 kilometers. Personally for me, yes, the hike was tough. The steps are very, very steep. But it's far from the most difficult one I've been to, even in Japan. Either way, I think when you come to Miyajima, you gotta come up here one way or another. But no matter if you're hiking or taking the ropeway, do bring lots of water and some small snacks because you will be hungry when you reach the summit. I'm gonna try going a different route down the mountain. This one should end around the Daishoin temple I was just at earlier. I'm not sure which one is easier, but here goes. Immediately I can feel the Daishoin route is much easier than the one I came up on. I think the trail is a bit longer, but it's also flatter, so it's easier to walk on. I guess going down is less tiring than going up, but still very straining, especially on my knees. In a little bit less than 1 hour, I made my way down the mountain again. Oh, what a hike. I think the most important thing right now is to get something to drink, get something to eat. So I'm going through the shopping street area and it seems like every single stall is selling exactly the same thing. These deep fried cakes. I'm not quite sure what they are. I think it's supposed to be shaped like a leaf, but I mean once you deep fry it, put all the batter on, you can't really tell what it is. The one that I got is a chocolate flavor. I'm gonna see what it tastes like. It's very soft and spongy, a little bit custardy, and it has that melted chocolate paste inside. And it just came out of the deep fryer, so it's piping hot, which is also good in its freezing temperature. Forget what I said earlier about the deer here not being scary. I think it's because those ones were baby deer. The adult ones are just as scary as the Nara ones. Anyways, during low tide in the afternoon, we can actually walk down over to the torii gate. And of course, in the afternoon is when all the tourists are here. I think the torii gate definitely looked better in the morning, not just because there were fewer people here, but mainly because it looked like it was floating in the water. Now it's just on some sand and rocks. Top tip when taking photos right now, find yourself a little puddle, some water in front of you, and then put your camera as close to the water as possible, and you'll get a really cool reflection. There's only a couple minutes until sunset now. At first, I wanted to stay until it gets completely dark because I believe the torii gate actually lights up at night. But right now, it's getting a little bit too cold with barely any sunlight. So I think I'm just gonna wait until sunset, see if there's any golden sky. If not, then I'll take the next ferry off the island.
Back in the city center, I must have a hot bowl of ramen. I'm at Ichimen, which is famous for their orange flavored ramen. That just sounds too interesting to pass up. The broth definitely has a strong citrus flavor, but it's not overly sweet or anything like that. It still tastes like a light shoyu ramen, but that extra layer of citrus oil perfectly balances out the saltiness of the ramen. The noodles and chashu are great as well. Definitely give it a try. Tomorrow, it's finally time to explore Hiroshima City.
When we hear the name Hiroshima, of course, one thing immediately comes to mind. That day on August 6, 1945, the very first time the atomic bomb was ever used in warfare. So I think it's only fitting that for my first stop in the city, I come visit the Peace Memorial and the atomic bomb dome. This building behind me used to be the Industrial Promotional Center of Hiroshima Prefecture, but now it's pretty much a symbol of that time period. The bomb detonated 600 meters above Hiroshima. If you look at the old pictures, it's absolutely insane that everything around here was flattened, but this building stands strong. It makes this a perfect symbol of the power of human destruction, but I think in a more hopeful sense, it's also a symbol of resilience. Now I'm gonna go across the river to see the Peace Memorial and the museum. I think that's actually the better view of this atomic bomb dome. That was without a doubt a very tough visit. I don't think I can show most of the images I saw here in the video, but one of the most profound images that I can show is simply the before and after. Immediately when you enter the museum, the first image you see is what Hiroshima used to be like. It was a thriving city. And then the hall afterwards is the aftermath of the bombing. Even though I've been to Nagasaki before and I've seen similar images, it's still tough to look at every single time. This monument behind me is without a doubt the most iconic monument of the entire park, the Children's Peace Monument.
This monument was inspired by the famous story of Sadako Sasaki, a girl who developed leukemia after the bombing. She wanted to fold 1,000 paper cranes in the hopes that they would grant her a wish. The monument is dedicated to all children affected by nuclear weapons. And even today, you'll still see school groups bring their own paper cranes to hang around the park.
As with all my travels, I collect postcards everywhere I go, and here at the Rest House Tourist Information Center is probably one of the best places in Hiroshima to get postcards. I got 3. They all have very unique designs. And apparently all of the postcards related to the Peace Memorial are made from recycled paper cranes. That's why other than the printed image, you get these colorful dots on the paper. I think it's a very meaningful postcard to get. While this is the most important part of Hiroshima's history, this city is so much more than that. So I think it's time to lighten the mood a bit. First, I'm gonna go get something to eat. I'm gonna try something that's super famous, Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki. The main difference between the Osaka style and the Hiroshima style okonomiyaki is that the Osaka style is a batter. Everything is pre-mixed already. But here in Hiroshima, everything is layered together. They cook each layer separately and they stack the okonomiyaki together. The very first layer is the cabbage. They cook that through. They put the pork belly on top. After that, you have some batter, sort of like a pancake that keeps everything in shape so it doesn't completely fall apart. In the middle, you will have some seafood or meat. I got some shrimp for mine, but I know here in Hiroshima, oysters are also very popular. And then they stack the cabbage, batter, and pork belly part on top of the soba noodles. And at the very end, an egg to top it off. So there are so many different layers. You can see every single layer distinctively. They're not all mushed together, not all combined together like the Osaka style one. Just look at that cross section. That is really good. Every single layer has different texture. The cabbage is crunchy. The noodles are crispy. The shrimp inside is a little bit chewy. This dish really is more texture over flavor, but the flavor is still incredible. You have the rich savoriness of the sauce on top, and of course the mayo as well. Just a tiny bit. If I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Osaka-style okonomiyaki because it's sort of just mushed together. But here, it's more of a layered dish, literally and figuratively. Well, that was an excellent okonomiyaki. The Hiroshima version really surprised me. Highly, highly recommend. And it's right next to the Peace Park. So come here after you're done visiting that area. I really did not expect to see red autumn leaves in the middle of December. It's so beautiful. This afternoon, I made my way over to the Hiroshima Castle grounds. The original Hiroshima Castle was built during the 1500s, but of course, since that structure was made entirely out of wood, during the bombings it was instantly destroyed. This area is also really close to the Hypo Center. In 1958, they rebuilt a brand new one based off the original design, so that's the one I'm gonna go check out right now. By the time you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure the castle will be closed down for renovation and you won't be allowed inside. I think you'll still be allowed outside in the garden region to look at the castle from afar. Since I am here while it's still open, I might as well show you what's inside, or rather what used to be inside by the time you're watching this. It turns out the interior of this castle is mainly a samurai-themed museum, showcasing artifacts and traditions from that time period. While there's some English explanations, most of the descriptions are still only in Japanese. Here at the castle, you can actually take a photo with the samurai hat. It's really heavy. How do I look? It seems like every castle in Japan has one of these cute mascots. I'm not sure if it's just my imagination, but standing on top of this castle, it kind of feels like the castle is shaking a bit. Maybe that's why it's going to be closed for renovation. The sun is nearly setting, and for me that always means finding a high viewpoint to look at the city from above. Obviously I already did that over at the Hiroshima Castle, but I can't stay there until sunset. As you can see, it's kind of cloudy right now, so I'm not sure if I can get a great view, but it's worth a shot. So tonight I'm heading to the Hijiyama Park. The park is very accessible. There's an escalator that will take you up the mountain, so no climbing required. This escalator was built to go up to the Contemporary Art Museum, but of course that museum is on the park. Yeah, I think by the looks of it, the chances of a sunset view is very slim, but I think I should still be able to get a good city view though. I feel like this is another one of those random viewpoints I find on my trips that no tourist will come to. I mean, it's literally just me here. But I mean, the view is fantastic, as you can see. If there are fewer clouds in the sky, I think this will be a perfect spot for the sunset. There's a tiny patch of clear sky over there. I'm not sure if the sun will dip down below the clouds. Hopefully it will, fingers crossed. But I don't regret coming here. Today is my last day staying in the city area, and tomorrow I'm going to continue north on my Chugoku trip. Today I'm going to take it slightly easier, no more hiking. This morning my first stop is Shukeien. I bet I completely bottled that pronunciation. Shukeien is supposedly the most beautiful garden in Hiroshima City. The weather today is 100% clear blue sky. Perfect time to come visit a Japanese garden. Built in the year 1620, Shukeien literally means shrink scenery garden. The idea is to shrink all these beautiful sceneries into one place, into one small garden where you can enjoy at the same time. Honestly, that sounds like a brilliant idea. This "be careful" sign is very interesting.
Early December is considered low season in Japan because it's after the peak autumn foliage and before the snow. But here in Shukeien, there is still a huge amount of red leaves, which is a very pleasant surprise. Oh my goodness, this red doesn't even look real. I promise there's no color grading. I think this idea to shrink all the stunning Japanese sceneries into one garden really worked out well. I bet if you're here in cherry blossom season or peak autumn season, it will look even more spectacular. This garden turned out to be a lot bigger than I expected. Slowly walking around the entire garden can take over an hour because you really want to slow down and enjoy this nature. Enjoy every single little section of the garden. For lunch today, I'm gonna have some curry at this restaurant right next to me. It's very small. I think it can sit at most 10 people. So I'm waiting outside in line right now. I'm really excited to try. The place is called Gariber Curry. Usually these small shops that serve pretty much only one dish are always gonna be good. This place was actually recommended to me by many friends who visited Hiroshima. I know Hiroshima is also very famous for their curry. When you order the curry, you must choose a spice level. I got level 3 with their signature beef curry. Of course, it comes with rice and a salad. It already smells so good. That is incredibly tasty. The consistency and texture are more similar to an Indian curry rather than the usual smooth Japanese curry you eat with katsu. But of course, it doesn't taste like an Indian curry. It still has that signature Japanese curry sweetness, and level 3 is not spicy at all. The beef flavor is very strong, and the meat itself is melt in your mouth tender. The saffron rice is also very flavorful. I am cleaning the plate here, it's absolutely delicious. Since this restaurant is so small, it's very loud inside. You're sitting right in front of the kitchen area, the cooking area, and all the guests are talking. So it is way too loud for me to vlog. That's why that entire section was voiceover. But yeah, that was extremely delicious. I feel like every single city I've been to in Japan will have some sort of indoor shopping area like this. I'm not sure why this style of shopping street is so popular in Japan. If you're Japanese and you know the answer to that question, please let me know in the comments below. In the afternoon, I went back to my hotel for a very short rest, and now in the evening, I'm back at the river to watch the sunset on Hiroshima City. The riverside was gorgeous the first morning I came here, but now during golden hour, it's even more beautiful. Hiroshima might not have the most breathtaking skyline, but here it's beautiful in a calming and simple way. The whole city just makes you feel relaxed. This right here really is Hiroshima in one frame. In the foreground, you have the river, the soul of the city. Behind the river is the atomic bomb dome, reminding us the tragic past this city once faced. And then everything surrounding it, newly built, new developments, showing us that yes, Hiroshima is still a thriving 21st century city.
So in the end, I think sitting at the Peace Park is a fitting way to end my trip here in Hiroshima. But I'm not done with Hiroshima Prefecture just yet. Tomorrow I'm heading north over to Onomichi, which is a very lovely seaside city here in the prefecture. So good night from Hiroshima and see you tomorrow when I continue this Japan trip. Good morning. Today I'm heading from Hiroshima over to Onomichi. Since this is a pretty common route, no matter if you're doing a day trip from Hiroshima or if you're staying a couple of nights in Onomichi. So I'm going to show you a very affordable way to go to Onomichi from Hiroshima. To go to Onomichi by local train, you first have to take the Sanyo line over to Itozaki Station. And then from Itozaki, I'll make a transfer and take one stop over to Onomichi. If you take the Shinkansen over, it will take around 50 minutes, but it will cost over 5,000 yen. The route I'm taking today will take around 1 hour and 35 minutes, but only 1,500 yen. Nearly 4 times the price. I don't think the Shinkansen is worth it for this trip. So after about 1.5 hours from Hiroshima, I arrived in Onomichi. Before I go explore the seaside city, I'm gonna go to the hotel and drop off my suitcase first. Even just walking through this small city, small village, small town, I don't know what you're supposed to call it. It already feels really calming. Alright, I just dropped off my bags. The place I'm staying at is called Lemon Sea Onomichi. And now, of course, I gotta go get something to eat. I finally made it into the shop. This place only has like 7 seats or so. That's why the wait took so long. It must be a super popular place among locals. And it really only serves one dish, Onomichi ramen. Judging by how many people are willing to stand in line for this 7-seat ramen shop, it should be really delicious. Time to eat the ramen. Onomichi ramen is a shoyu ramen with a chicken and fish broth. But it's not fishy at all. It's a hint of seafood taste that simply adds a strong umami-ness to the ramen. To make the broth extra rich, Onomichi ramen uses pork back fat that you can actually see floating in the bowl. So every sip of broth is just a flavor explosion in your mouth. It's definitely a step up from the standard shoyu ramen. Shoyu-based ramen is usually a little bit too salty for me. I definitely prefer tonkotsu ramen, but here the flavors are really balanced and you still get that fattiness from the pork. That chashu absolutely disintegrates in your mouth immediately when touching your tongue. Might be some of the best shoyu ramen I've ever had, honestly. That ramen was well worth the wait. I ordered the one with egg and it was only 600 yen. Unbelievable value. Very, very delicious. Meal time over, now it's time to head to the central area. I've only been walking out here for like 5 minutes, but I already love this place so much. Onomichi is by the sea. Water just makes me feel relaxed no matter where I am. But when you look out at the sea, you're not looking out at a vast emptiness. You're looking at the islands, you're looking at the docks, the shipyards. There's lots of things going on in the landscape here, and I think that's what makes it so beautiful. Onomichi is actually an important hub for the Japanese maritime industry, including shipbuilding and repairs. While these are not really tourist sites,
the docks do give the city a unique industrial look. Of course, you can also take the small ferries to explore the various islands nearby. But right now, late in the afternoon, it's time to head up the hill to the best place to look at the city from above, Senkoji Park.
This entire street over here is right by the train track. I know Onomichi is very famous for its yellow trains that pass here maybe once every hour or so. I really wish I can see one pass by because that would be such a cool shot. Well, that wasn't the most famous yellow train, but still very cool. Hopefully I can catch the yellow train sometime.
Other than the small shops and cafes, the hillside up to Senkoji Park has some of the most beautiful alleyways in the entire city. Up on this hill, you will see many cats wandering around. In fact, there's a place called Neko no Hosamichi, which literally means cat alley. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure which specific alleyway it's referring to, because this place is like a maze. But it doesn't matter, you'll still see cats everywhere. After a short hike, I finally reached the Senkoji Park area. Here, of course, you can visit the Senkoji Temple, which is right on the hillside overlooking the Onomichi Channel. The temple already gives you an amazing panoramic view of the city, but I want to go even higher. Since the sun is setting soon, I think I'll skip the temple and head up to the observatory at the peak.
Every day I tell myself I should give my knees a break and stop hiking, but every day I still end up coming to one of these observatories. But my goodness, the view from up here is simply sensational. Good morning from Onomichi. Today the weather is slightly cloudier but still pretty warm, which is nice. I finally don't have to wear the down vest inside my jacket. I guess today will be more of a rest day for me since tomorrow I'm going to go on the very famous cycling route around the islands. Definitely no more hiking for me today. I gotta rest up my legs because if I'm going to be cycling on those bridges, it's going to be very, very tough.
Before exploring the city today, I first have to get a quick snack. I'm gonna have some takoyaki, but it's not the traditional type.
The food is finally ready. I believe this style over here uses chicken gizzard instead of octopus, so it's really special in this region. I got 10, all of them costed 550 yen. I also got mine with bacon and cheese filling inside. It's really beautiful that they serve it in this wooden little boat. That is really good. Soft, fluffy, with the slightly crunchy and chewy filling inside. I'm not the biggest fan of octopus, to be honest, so the fact that this doesn't have the octopus filling actually makes it better for me. I only chose to come here because I wanted a quick snack and it was very close to where I'm staying, but I'm glad I did. The store owner here is also very friendly. He was trying to have a conversation with me, but he doesn't speak any English and I don't speak any Japanese. But you can tell he's very welcoming to his customers. Okay, that was a nice little snack and I'm over here by the train station again. Right inside the Onomichi station, I got myself a very beautiful postcard. Since there are so many cats roaming around the streets here, this entire series is cat themed. It's really adorable. And if you like stamps, don't forget to get yourself a station stamp. They have this at almost every single train station in Japan. The design is always super unique. I think my plan today is to go visit some other temples in Onomichi, which are not that high up on the hillside. Because other than the most famous one, Senkoji, this city is filled with so many different temples. I guess the other goal of mine today is to finally see one of those famous yellow trains that pass by here. Wow, 2 trains in a row. I think I got the shot I'm looking for.
This area of Onomichi is known for its Temple Walk, a 2.5 kilometer trail that connects 25 major temples. This might also be a fun activity if you don't mind some walking, but I don't think I'll follow this entire route today. I'll check out a few temples nearby and find a nice cafe on the hillside.
Even though there's so many temples in this area, every single one seems to have different styles. Walking through this one, the Jiko temple, feels like you're walking through a small, beautiful garden. And I really like the wooden structure of the houses here. It makes the whole temple feel very elegant. Since it's no longer the weekend, there's so few people around in Onomichi. It just makes the entire city feel even more tranquil than it already is. So if you want the best experience, the best getaway from one of those big cities, I highly recommend coming here during a weekday.
There are so many beautiful cafes in Onomichi by the hillside. I found this one next to the Hyogo Temple. It has a perfect view of the train tracks, and you can see the water in the background as well. There's nobody in this cafe right now, only me and the store owner, probably because it's a weekday. I'm not sure if you can hear from the microphone, but there's no music playing in this cafe. The background sound is the sound of waves. Just listen to that. I got myself an afternoon dessert. It's almond ice cream on top of a red bean puree, I believe. Okay, I think it's time to go somewhere else.
That was a terrific cafe. The interior design is very lovely. I think the owner is a photographer. There were many cameras on display, photos on display, and photography related books inside the cafe. Highly recommend spending an hour or so in this little cafe here in Onomichi. Okay, now I'm gonna head over to the seaside. So I made it to the seaside again. From what I read online, this pier over here that I'm sitting on right now became very viral because it's a shooting location for a Japanese drama. I mean, I've never seen that TV show before, but I can tell why anyone would want to shoot a movie or TV series here. This seaside is absolutely spectacular, especially right now when the sun is just peering through the clouds. In a place like Onomichi, you don't need an itinerary. You don't need to have things pre-planned. Wander through the city and let the city speak to you. I know for a fact that this type of slow travel is not for everyone. Some people want excitement in every single step of their trip. But for me personally, I just want to spend the time to slow down, sit by the ocean, literally do nothing. Sometimes it's just these little things that make a trip like this so special. Onomichi has quickly become one of my favorite places in Japan. Good morning, today's the day. I'm gonna do one of my most anticipated activities on this Japan trip. I'm gonna go on the epic Shimanami Kaido. This is supposedly one of the best cycling routes in all of Japan, when you hop across multiple islands by bike and by ferry, going across several different bridges. This scenery is supposed to be absolutely spectacular. The entire route is 70 kilometers. It's usually only doable in 2 days. I only have 1 day today, so I don't think I'm gonna do the entire route, but let's see how far I get. Before I set off, of course, I gotta eat something first. I got an onigiri. I rented a bicycle from my hotel. It costed me 3,000 yen for the day. Around the city, you can probably get bicycle rentals for 3,000 yen anywhere, but I chose to rent at my hotel so I can return it whenever I want. The rental shops in the city close at 5 p.m. and I think that's a little bit too early. I won't even be able to see the sunset if I return at 5 p.m. Okay, I think it's about time to set off. Before I officially start the route, I need to take a ferry over to the first island. The ferry ride costs 110 yen.
I got my phone and my Insta360 Go Ultra set up. Time to start the ride. The entire bike path is marked really well with this blue line. So all you have to do is follow the blue line and that's the route. You will not get lost.
This small village is very beautiful, especially when there's nobody else here. I'm quite surprised there's nobody else here. Maybe this is only a very popular activity during the weekend, but right now during the weekdays, it's completely empty. Like seriously, completely empty. I think I only saw one cyclist on the way here.
After riding through the middle of the island, I finally reached the seaside again. And the scenery just keeps on getting better. I have to stop a bit just to look at this view. I feel like this is going to be a common occurrence on this ride. Every angle is so beautiful. Okay, now it's time to go ride up that bridge. I think the part where the bicycles go is around 50 meters tall. So the ride up is around 1 kilometer at 3% gradient. It doesn't sound that bad, but who knows. Okay, let's go.
I think I'm just gonna take it slow and steady, conserve some energy.
Honestly, that climb wasn't bad at all. It was a lot easier than I expected it to be. Okay, now I'm gonna go across this bridge. Cue an epic hyperlapse. Welcome to the second island of the day, Enoshima Island. What an absolutely perfect weather for cycling today. Great place by the sea for a short break. I can already see the next bridge over there. There should also be a couple of convenience stores. I think I'll stop by for a quick lunch before heading on the bridge. Lunch break at the Lawson. I got a sandwich, a snack, and a matcha drink. And I have the bridge view right in front of me. There's actually quite a lot of convenience stores along this route, so you don't have to pack food with you. There's always going to be something for you to eat. Lunchtime over. I do think the next island, Ikuchijima Island, will be my last island of the day, since I do have to head back to Onomichi. The hotel staff did suggest me to not even try doing the entire route in one day. Usually people who do the entire route will stay overnight somewhere in the middle. Anyways, let's head over to the next island. Next bridge to go climb, the Ikuchi Bridge.
距離埋めたくて二人肩並べ
染まる夕暮れに交わした言葉も全部覚えてる初めて感じるこの気持ちは嘘じゃない One and only あのシネマのようね One and only 運命の出会いよ後悔はしたくない一度きり届けたい
That downhill section from the bridge was pretty awesome.
I think the plan now is to finish biking through Ikuchi Island, and that's when I'll start heading back.
It is 12:30 right now. I started at 9, so I've been cycling for 3.5 hours already. And I did around 25 kilometers, of course with some breaks in the middle and those very tough bridge climbs. So if I want to get back to Onomichi by 5 o'clock before sunset, this should be the exact midpoint of my trip. I think this is as far as I'll go. I feel like even just doing this short route and not reaching Imabari, I'm already super satisfied with this experience. Of course, if you're not an athlete, if you're not an avid cyclist, if you just want to do a casual cycling trip and not push yourself too much, I feel like turning back at Ikuchijima is a good decision. I mean, I don't know what the rest of the views over to Imabari will look like, but the route that I went on today already made me so happy. This was for sure the highlight of this Japan trip so far. Okay, it is time for part 2 of this trip, the 25-kilometer ride back to Onomichi. Time for the first bridge climb on the way back. It looks so fast and effortless with an e-bike, but it's also cheating. First bridge down and I made it back to Enoshima Island, which means I should be around 1/3 of my way back to Onomichi. I just love the atmosphere of these small coastal villages. There's so many boats parked here. I wonder what it's like living here, just waking up every morning to this beautiful scenery. Yet you're not that far away from a big city, So you still have all the convenience just within a couple of kilometers. This seriously must be paradise. I would love to live in a place like this. This road is definitely steeper than climbing the bridges. Are you kidding? This uphill section defeated me, so I'm just pushing it instead. Weak. So weak. That should be the last uphill section of the day finished. The rest of it should either be downhill or flat. Finally made it, finally made it. Yeah, I think I should be fine, thank you. So in the end, because of nothing but my own stupidity and carelessness, this whole trip got ruined. It's a new day now. I got time to patch up my wound. After the accident yesterday, I didn't really feel like doing anything anymore. Even though the sunset was beautiful, I only really had the mood to film a couple of shots with my phone. I think the lesson to learn from this is that no matter how much fun you're having, safety should always come first. I was a little bit careless on the brakes and ended up in a pile of leaves, and I think that's how I lost grip and fell off the bike. Every single piece of clothing I was wearing got completely ruined. My camera got scratched. Surprisingly, the bike was fine. I think it's because the bike fell on me and I took all the weight of the fall, but whatever. It's not important anymore. I think looking back at the footage from yesterday, despite the accident, the Shimanami Kaido is still absolutely worth going to. So I think now it's time to put that little fall behind me and move on, continue this Japan trip. If you're someone who likes the seaside village atmosphere, if you're someone who just wants to slow down and escape from all the big metropolises, Onomichi is still one of the best places in Japan to visit. It certainly was one of my favorite places I've ever been to in Japan. And of course, I have to say this one more time. Be careful in your travels and stay safe. Today I'm heading from Onomichi over to Okayama. It's very easy to get there by train. All you have to do is take the Sanyo line in the direction of Fukuyama or Okayama. It'll take a little more than 1 hour. There's still a couple minutes before the train comes. I'm gonna enjoy my breakfast and fingers crossed that this will be a smoother day than yesterday. I like how the warm drinks in Japanese convenience stores are actually pretty hot. It's a good hand warmer in this cold weather. After the 1.5 hour train ride, I finally arrived in Okayama. I dropped off my suitcase at my hotel, and now I have 1 day to kill. To be honest, most of the things I have planned for Okayama are around the area, but not in the city center itself. I plan to go to Kurashiki, I plan to go to the art islands, but since today I only have half a day, I don't want to go to those destinations because those are all better for a full day's trip. Okayama is the second largest city here in the Chugoku region after Hiroshima, so I think there should still be quite a lot to explore.
I figured out what I'm gonna do for the rest of the day, but before I go visit the sites, of course I gotta get something to eat. And for my first meal here in Okayama, I'm gonna have their iconic demi katsudon. I came here at 11 right when it opened and it's already completely full. This place is so popular among the locals. You order with the machine in front, it's cash only, and then you just sit down and wait for your food. The Okayama demi katsudon is very different from the regular katsudon you have in Japan, because other than the crispy pork, it comes with a glazed sauce on top. That sauce actually looks really delicious. I'm gonna dig in before the sauce soaks into the katsudon too much. That is really good. The sauce doesn't actually make the katsudon too soggy. You can still taste the crispy texture. I'm gonna try a bite with just the rice and the sauce so I can taste the flavor of the sauce. That is so interesting. It's sweet and savory at the same time, and you can taste a little bit of that alcohol flavor to it. I believe this sort of demi-glazed sauce is a very popular sauce used in French cooking, usually put on steak or something. But yeah, it works really well with this katsu. It's like a mixture between Japanese and Western culture. I think I can eat a bowl of rice just with that sauce itself. That's how good the sauce is. And to finish the meal, miso soup. Well, that was a unique and delicious meal, a great way to start my trip here in Okayama. Now I'm going to head to probably the most famous site in the city, the Okayama Korakuen. I think I found the garden. It's over there across the river. There are very few people. It doesn't feel like the atmosphere of a big city in Japan. I'm guessing most people who come to Okayama are here for Kurashiki. I mean, I'm here for Kurashiki as well. But walking through Okayama City itself still feels very comfortable, and I bet the garden will be even better. I made it into the garden and the admission cost 500 yen. I find it incredible how almost every major Japanese city has one of these amazing gardens. I guess in the wintertime the garden looks slightly barren because all the grass is yellow already, but the view is still really nice, especially with the Okayama Castle in the background. It's definitely the grass that makes this garden feel kind of barren. Everything else is still very green. Climbing up to this house over here gives you a perfect view of Okayama Castle. Okayama Korakuen is one of the 3 great gardens in Japan. Completed in the 1700s, it was a place for local feudal lords to relax and welcome important guests. Unlike many traditional Japanese gardens that feel intimate and dense, Korakuen is famous for its vast open lawn and a large pond in the middle featuring miniature islands. Although the garden was heavily damaged in World War II, it was later restored to its Edo period appearance. I'm not sure what type of bird this is, but it's so beautiful. This right beside me is a cherry blossom grove. I've never been to Japan during cherry blossom season because I think there will probably be way too many people. But just looking at this group of trees over here, I can already imagine it will be absolutely stunning during that season.
I think in terms of variety in the landscape, Shukeien I visited earlier in Hiroshima is more impressive. But here it's just the scale of this garden. There's so much open space. It feels like a giant park in the backyard of the castle for people to enjoy. These Japanese gardens really are the best. You can understand why every single feudal lord back then wants one of these in their backyard. So yeah, Okayama Korakuen is definitely a must visit in the city, and if you're here during spring or summer, you gotta come here for sure. Your ticket to the garden is actually valid for 1 day. You can enter again. Just show your ticket to the staff member at the gate. But I don't think I'm gonna go back today. Now I'm gonna cross the bridge into Ujo Park underneath the Okayama Castle. Is it just me, or is Okayama Castle a lot smaller than the regular castles you see here in Japan? Standing underneath it, it feels tiny.
Okayama Castle is nicknamed the Crow Castle because of its black exterior, whereas most castles in Japan are white-walled. There are also bright, golden, fish-shaped sculptures on the roofs, which match perfectly with the dark backdrop. The castle was originally built in the 16th century, but the one we see here today was reconstructed after the Second World War. Since I've already been to so many castle museums in Japan, I think I'll skip going inside the Okayama Castle on this trip.
You can probably tell now that yeah, Okayama Castle is quite mini. It feels more like a big house or something. Compared to the cities I visited earlier on this trip, Okayama really does seem a lot more niche, I guess. Of course, no matter where you go in Japan, there's gonna be tourists, both local and foreign, but I feel like the people here is not at the same level as the people in Hiroshima or Onomichi. I guess if Onomichi is an escape from the big cities, Okayama feels like being in a big city without actually feeling like you're in a big city. When you walk around the streets of Okayama, you might notice that this is a very artistic looking city. There are these statues everywhere on the streets. I'm not quite sure what they are, just seem to be very creative displays. And then you have these mailboxes which each have a unique design on them. It's really cool. Also, the manhole covers are well designed as well. I'm not sure if this is a common thing in Japanese cities. I know the manhole cover thing is more common, but I've never seen a city with this many statues and cool mailboxes before. The sun really sets so early in the winter here. It's not even 5 o'clock yet.
If for some reason you don't want to eat at a restaurant in Japan, another great place to get a quick and cheap bite is at the local Aeon Mall, or any supermarket in a large shopping mall. Tonight I got a salmon bento, a salad, and a pudding for less than 800 yen total. If you already like the food in Japanese convenience stores, then the cooked food section in supermarkets is even cheaper and tastes better too. So I'm gonna eat my dinner and I'll see you guys tomorrow when I head to Kurashiki.
Good morning from Kurashiki. It is around 7:30 right now. The Kurashiki city itself is actually quite substantial, even though the historical quarter part that I'm visiting today is not that big. I am here very early in the morning because, as you know me, I like to arrive before all the other tourists do, so I can see the site relatively empty for a while. A place like Kurashiki must be super crowded later in the day. Just kidding, I'm completely wrong. There's already so many people here. I know many places in Japan face the problem of over-tourism, but coming here this early in the morning, you don't really feel it. The only thing you hear is the street noise far in the distance, people riding past on bicycles, the workers sweeping the branches off the streets in the morning to make this place even cleaner. An atmosphere like this is why I enjoy coming to Japan so much. And you can enjoy it as well if you just wake up a little bit earlier in the morning. Nothing here is open right now. The tourist information center is not open. I think most of the stores open at around 9 or 10 o'clock. So there's still an hour or two before all the people start flooding in. Kurashiki was a very important area during the Edo period. The name of the city roughly translates to the town of storehouses. Back then, many of the houses along the canal were used to store rice. The Bikan Historical Quarter I'm at right now is the centerpiece of Kurashiki, and it really is a great place to sort of experience the atmosphere of old Japan. But of course, these historical houses no longer are used to store rice. They're converted into gift shops, restaurants, and many cafes. Other than enjoying the atmosphere, there's actually not much to do around here before all the shops open at 9 o'clock. So I think I'm just gonna wander around the area, maybe find some more cool photo spots. If you don't want to come here as early as I did, I still recommend coming maybe at around 8:30, so you can still see the streets relatively empty when the shops are closed. The atmosphere will be completely different when everything else is open. So I made my way up to the Achi Shrine, which is on a hilltop, and sort of behind the trees you can see the entire cityscape. The color of the Shimanami under the morning sun is so beautiful.
The Achi Shrine is located on Mount Tsurugata, just a little north of the Bikan Historical Quarter. This shrine was built to worship the three goddesses of Munakata, who are known to be the guardians of the sea and voyages. This was very important for Kurashiki, as the city was a major crossroads for trade.
right after visiting the Achi Shrine. I think it's just in time for some of the shops in the historical quarter to start opening. Yep, the town is now very lively, and I think this is a good time to go on a little boat ride through the canal. I got the first time slot at 9:30 in the morning. You get the ticket over at the Tourist Information Center, which opens at 9 a.m. and it costs 700 yen. I just boarded a little boat. They gave me this hat to block out the sun, and I think the ride will be around 20 minutes going through this canal. This is quite wonderful.
It turns out this experience is not just a boat ride, it's a brief history and architecture tour of the historical quarter. This building, where the Tourist Information Center is located, was built in 1917 and used to be the town hall of Kurashiki. The beam of this bridge over here, Nakabashi, is made from one solid piece of granite. The builder even carved his name on the bottom of the bridge, but I can't really see it.
So I just finished the boat ride. I thought it was going to go further down the canal, but it's actually just in this street I was walking at earlier. The boat ride itself was 20 minutes, but it felt a lot longer than I expected it to be. And surprisingly, the tour is in English as well, so you can learn a bit about the buildings in this area. Even though the route was very short, it was still super informative. Now that all the shops are open, I'm going to go check out some of the stores and see what they sell here. I also definitely want to get a postcard from Kurashiki. I didn't know this, but Kurashiki is actually the heart of Japan's denim industry. That's why around these streets there are so many shops selling denim or denim related products. Denim bears. There's even a denim themed food stall over there where everything is blue. I don't think I'm gonna try that, but it looks really interesting. This Rilakuma denim store is cute though. For lunch today, I'm gonna have some udon. I'm here in this self-service udon restaurant. And when I say self-service, I do mean literally completely self-service. To the point where you even have to cook your udon yourself. You first go choose which size of udon you want, and then you choose all the other toppings that you want with it. They only have udon and tempura. I got an onion tempura and some sort of oden tempura, I guess. And of course, on top of the udon, we gotta put some spring onions. Loads of spring onions. Time to dig in and try the udon. That is some nice udon, perfectly chewy, just how I like it. To be honest, udon is my favorite type of Japanese noodle. Just the noodle itself. If I can combine udon with ramen, I would. Unfortunately, udon is usually this type of plain broth. I really love udon, mainly because of the texture. I just prefer thicker noodles in general. I'm gonna take a bite into this giant piece of onion tempura. I think it's like one entire onion made into a tempura or something. Very delicious bowl of udon here in Kurashiki. I know I rarely give negative comments about food, but that onion tempura just wasn't it. Don't get it. In this restaurant, you can sit on normal tables and chairs, or you can sit on the traditional Japanese tatami. Of course, I chose the tatami. After a short break, my first stop in the afternoon is Kanryuji. Whereas the Achi shrine I visited earlier in the morning was a Shinto shrine, Kanryuji is a Buddhist temple.
For much of its history, the lines between Japanese Shintoism and Buddhism were very blurred, with many people worshipping deities from both religions. During the Meiji Restoration, the government declared an official separation of the two faiths. Before that, Kanryu Temple and Achi Shrine were actually part of the same complex on this small mountain. That's why you can see a Shinto gate inside this Buddhist temple.
And if you want to see a cityscape of Kurashiki, this is actually a better viewpoint because there are no trees blocking the view.
The second floor of the Tourist Information Center actually has a great vantage point of the canal. It's a free area where you can sit and just have a rest. I got some postcards on the first floor shop, and now I'm gonna write one for a friend.
The weather definitely got slightly worse in the afternoon, and I just got an alert on my phone saying there's going to be a thunderstorm coming in the next 30 minutes or so. I don't really feel like being drenched today. So I think this is a good time to conclude my day trip here in Kurashiki. Even with all the people here in the afternoon, this is still a very lovely neighborhood to walk around, just to enjoy the atmosphere. The alleyways and canals are both very charming, and this is the winter time where there's not too much greenery, and I already love this experience so much. Just imagine what it will look like in the summer, in the spring, with the willows on this canal, or maybe the cherry blossom covering the entire area. So yeah, I highly recommend everyone visiting Kurashiki. Of course, from Okayama City, it'll be the easiest, but I'm pretty sure it's even doable if you want to do a day trip from, let's say, Osaka or something.
And now it's time to head back to Okayama before it starts raining.
Hello again from Okayama. It did indeed rain a little bit in the afternoon. Light rain, but I think still enough to get you soaked. I took a short break at my hotel and now I'm nearby at the Nishikawa River. During the winter season, there's actually a light display along the entire river. I know there's a similar thing in Kurashiki as well, but I didn't want to stay there until the evening. Here in Okayama though, it's still really beautiful. I think this is a great way to make the riverside during the wintertime feel lively again. Usually there are no leaves on the trees and everything just feels quite boring during the winter. They even have a little platform here designed so you can take photos with illumination. It's a very nice touch. So that's the end of day 2 here in Okayama Prefecture. Tomorrow I have one more day here, though the place I'm going to tomorrow is not technically in Okayama anymore, but it's a great day trip from Okayama. I'm gonna head to Naoshima Island, one of the most famous art islands here in Japan. So good night and see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, today I am heading to Naoshima Island. In order to go to Naoshima Island, I first have to take a train and then transfer to a ferry. First, my destination is Uno Port. From Okayama Station, find the Uno Port line and ride all the way to the terminal station. It should take around an hour or so. I've arrived in Uno. The ferry terminal sign for Naoshima is pretty obvious, so just look for this big red sign, you probably won't miss it. I just bought my boat ticket. It costs 600 yen round trip. The ferry tickets here are cash only, and you're not allowed to use the typical Japanese IC cards, which is pretty strange, so definitely keep some cash on you when visiting Naoshima. There's still around 40 minutes to kill until the boat comes, so I'm just gonna wander around the Uno Port area. This is such a lovely little seaside city. The water today is this perfect blue, and luckily there's not too much wind right now. Hopefully it stays like that for the rest of the day. Over there I can already see Naoshima Island in the distance. It's not that far away. If you have some time to spare at Uno Port, you can come check out the Sea Bream of Uno. I believe these two fish sculptures over here are made from sea trash and recycled material. It's really colorful. It's like a rainbow color scheme. The fish eye is made from a frying pan. While the sea bream sculptures are pretty cool, if those are really all made from trash collected from the sea, it's also a bit saddening. Ooh, looks like that's the boat I'm gonna take. I better start heading back soon. I have boarded the ferry over to Naoshima. The first floor of the ferry is actually all for cars, and passengers are on top. The ferry ride should take around 20 minutes. This ferry takes you from Uno to Takamatsu and Shikoku, with Naoshima as a stop in the middle. The wind got a little bit too strong on the sun deck, so I decided to come inside. I think we're nearly there already. The most convenient way to get around this island is to take the town bus. It costs 100 yen per trip, and it will bring you to pretty much all the places you will want to go to, all the famous museums. I just took the bus over to the furthest point, near the Beneath House and the Chichu Art Museum. While Naoshima Island is a cool place to visit, there is one slight issue. In terms of making a travel video for you guys, it might be very difficult here because this island and most of its museums have a strict no photo policy. And pretty much all of the museums here have a strict no video policy. So I'm really only allowed to shoot outdoors in these public installations that are not part of any museum. I can't show you anything that's inside these museums. I'm not sure what really is the scope of this photography, videography ban, so I think I'm only gonna vlog in these public areas just so I don't get in trouble. But luckily, there's still many art installations around the island that you are allowed to shoot and take photos of. And the most famous ones are without a doubt the pumpkins by Yayoi Kusama. Don't look at that pumpkin for too long, there are way too many dots. I think there's also one red one near the ferry pier that I'll check out later before I leave the island. This statue right here is supposedly a frog and a cat. I think the bottom part is the frog and the top part is the cat. For some things that you see on this island, you really have to wonder, is it art? Art doesn't make any sense to me, but all I can say, it's pretty cool.
As I head over to the Chichu Art Museum, I'm gonna put my cameras away and try to enjoy the museum without filming anything for a change. I'm not sure how strict these museums are with their policies, but I definitely don't want to be that one tourist who breaks the rules.
So I just finished the Chichu Art Museum and I'm back at this cat and frog statue. I did not go to the Beneath house right beside me because if you do enter every single museum, it's going to end up costing quite a lot of money. The Chichu Art Museum is the most famous one here. I put my phone and camera away, but I did still see a few people sneak a couple of shots with their phone. Probably don't do that. Many of the art museums here, including the Beneath House and the Chichu Art Museum, are designed by famous Japanese architect Tadao Ando. The architecture is really amazing. It has this industrial look to it. It's very gray, but it looks really cool. The exhibits inside, I don't have much comments about it. It's art, it's beautiful. But honestly, my favorite art piece in this area is still Yayoi Kusama's pumpkin, and that's free for everyone to see. So that's it for this part of the island. I think right now I'm gonna go find something to eat, and then after lunch, I'll see what other art installations I can find. After a quick lunch at a small ramen shop owned by an elderly couple, it's time to head to my next area of the day. I'm gonna head to the Hanmura area. Walking through Naoshima Island, there really aren't that many cars or people around in general. These uphill, downhill sections make it very tough to ride a bicycle. So if you do want to ride a bicycle here, I highly recommend getting an e-bike. Or if you have more time, just walk around. The island is not even that big. Walking through Naoshima really does give you the feeling of walking through rural Japan, but maybe like a more artsy version of rural Japan, because there really are art installations everywhere just scattered throughout this island.
The most popular thing to see in the Hamura area is definitely the Art House Project, a collection of 7 different old village houses that have been turned into art pieces. I bought a combo ticket that includes 5 of the houses.
This art house project is underneath this Shinto shrine. It's completely underground. It's quite dark inside. The only light you get is from this glass staircase, similar to the one above ground. It makes me think that this isn't really even a real Shinto shrine. So far, these art house projects have been a bit underwhelming. I got the 5 house pass at 1,200 yen, but apparently if you just want to visit one of them, it will cost you 600 yen. If you were really curious, get the 1,200 yen one and visit all 5, but do not pay 600 yen just to visit one of them.
After checking out 2 more houses, I am at the 5th house of the day.
I just finished visiting the last art house project, Haisha. I think Haisha might be the most interesting one so far. The outside building is really nice. It looks like the entire building is made out of scraps, like scrap metal or something. And inside you will find a giant Statue of Liberty. Now I'm making my way back to the ferry station. Let me find a place to sit down and I'll share with you my honest thoughts about the art house projects. But I mean, you can probably already guess what my opinion is. Even the ferry has dots on it. I mean, it could be the Japanese flag. So I made it back to the pier and the ferry doesn't leave for around 50 minutes or so. Gives me some time to explore this area. But I just want to talk about the art house projects again. Honestly, it wasn't for me. Whenever I visit a new location, I try to keep an open mind. Don't trust all the reviews necessarily, but after visiting, I can say it was seriously underwhelming. I've decided to not show you guys too much because for those who are interested and don't trust what I have to say, if I show you everything I saw, maybe there'll be nothing else to see in that place. I really want this channel to be a positive space, but yeah, you can tell by my expression and my feeling that it was really not what I expected. Let's just leave the negativity at that. I think Naoshima Island as a whole is still a brilliant place to visit. It just has that artistic atmosphere. The streets have that calm, rural Japanese vibe to it. The ocean view is absolutely spectacular. And then with these art pieces just scattered around the island, it seems like everywhere you go, you will see a piece of art. This island really is the case where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Now thinking about it, if you really want a free trip to Naoshima, I mean other than transportation costs, I think it's totally doable. If you like these small art pieces, if you want to wander through a place that feels like a living art museum, Naoshima is the island for you. Even though there's tons of paid areas, there's tons of free areas for you to enjoy as well. For example, the Yayoi-kusama pumpkins. I still need to go to the red one right there over at the pier. This red one is a lot bigger than the yellow one and you can actually go inside.
have once again reached Uno Station and now I'm going to take the train back to Okayama City. This also concludes my trip here in Okayama Prefecture.
Today I am leaving the Chugoku region and continuing to the final stops of this Japan trip. I am heading to the Hyogo Prefecture in Kansai. For my final stops, I'm visiting Himeji and Kobe. Even though I've been to the Kansai region many times before, surprisingly I've never been to Himeji. I think Himeji Castle might be the most famous landmark in Kansai that I have yet to visit. So I'm going to spend a day in Himeji and then head to Kobe in the evening.
So after around an hour and a half, I've arrived in Himeji. Once you're at the station, you'll see many signs leading you to the Himeji Castle. You won't miss it. Or you can just head out of the station and you'll see the castle right there. I stored my suitcase in one of the coin lockers and now I'm going to head straight to the castle. I can definitely feel it getting colder as I get further north in Japan. But it's okay because it's still bright and sunny today, clear blue skies. It should be a good day to explore the castle. I've now entered, I guess, the garden area surrounding Himeji Castle, and this is already bigger in every single way compared to any other castle I visited in Japan. Right over there, Himeji Castle stands on top of this hill. It definitely looks really grand. Really beautiful right now with that blue sky. The white and blue put together, stunning. Because Himeji Castle is the biggest and most famous one in Japan, it also makes sense that the entry price is the most expensive. It's 1,050 yen including the castle and the garden. Even making it from the entrance to the main castle keep takes quite a while here. The maze-like layout leading to the keep was completely intentional, making Himeji Castle an almost impenetrable fortress. The Himeji Castle is also nicknamed the White Heron Castle, not only because of the color, but because the slanted roofs are supposed to resemble a heron in flight. So right now I'm going to go head inside the castle. I believe there are no elevators. If you want to go to the very top, you have to climb up. Unlike many castles in Japan that have been destroyed and then reconstructed, Himeji Castle is actually very well preserved. It survived all the wars, the feudal era, and of course that means the interior of the castle has not been converted into a 21st century museum. It still has that wooden structure to it. Himeji Castle really is the most precious and most treasured castle in all of Japan. That's why it's also considered a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You're not even allowed to wear outside shoes inside. You have to take them off and put them in a plastic bag, hold them while exploring the castle. Surprisingly, the castle keep I'm in right now was never meant to be a full-time residence. It was built as a symbol of power and as a last resort during a siege. Instead of luxury living spaces, you'll see space for weapon storage. The lords actually lived in separate residential quarters within the castle grounds. Despite the defenses, Himeji Castle was famously never attacked. Unfortunately, if you have limited mobility, you really will not be able to visit Himeji Castle. There's no elevator and the staircases are all very steep. There's always like a human traffic jam at every single staircase. It's quite difficult to climb. But I think it's good that they chose not to modernize this building, to preserve it as it is. You really don't want to have to put a modern elevator inside such a traditional piece of architecture. The very top floor of Himeji Castle is actually a small Shinto shrine dedicated to the spirit or monster living inside the castle. Legend says an original shrine was removed when expanding the castle grounds, angering the spirit and bringing illness to the people. The shrine we see here today was then built on the top floor to appease the spirit and to protect the castle. And of course, other than the shrine, the top floor offers an amazing panoramic view of the city.
Before visiting Himeji Castle, I feel like the most beautiful castles I've been to Japan are the Osaka Castle and the Kumamoto Castle. But both of those have been essentially rebuilt completely from scratch. Just like any other historical building, of course there have been some restoration works here on Himeji Castle, but structurally speaking, it has pretty much remained the same, and that's exactly what makes Himeji Castle so special. I feel like it's a good thing that it took me so long to visit this castle. Maybe if I visited Himeji earlier, I would no longer be interested in any of those completely reconstructed castles. This is something that's very interesting. Throughout this castle complex, you'll see these camera stands for you to put your phone on or your camera on, and then you won't have to ask a stranger to take your photo for you. Let's see if the angle is nice or not. I think the result is not bad, good for introverts. I mean, sometimes if you ask a stranger to take a photo for you, the results may vary. After you finish visiting the castle keep, don't rush to leave yet, because there's actually so much more to explore within the castle grounds.
One of the other iconic structures is definitely the Hyakken-roka.
This long corridor section over here is also used as another line of defense for Himeji Castle.
While structurally this corridor was used for defense, it was actually also a living quarter, mainly for the women of the castle. It was home to a famous princess, Princess Zen, who lived here during the 17th century. Her story was filled with tragedy. Following the death of her first husband, she married the heir to the Honda clan of Himeji Castle, and this wooden corridor became her sanctuary. However, her young son and husband soon passed away due to illness. Princess Zen then moved away from the castle and became a Buddhist nun.
I've never seen a brochure selection with this many languages before. So that's it for my visit to Himeji Castle, and before I leave, of course, I gotta get a postcard as well. Now I'm going to head to another place that's included in the ticket, Korakuen. It's not technically part of the castle grounds, it's right next to it. I think it's a small Japanese garden similar to the ones you will find around other castles in Japan. Unlike many of these gardens built nearby castles, Korakuen is actually not a historical garden. It was finished recently, well, relatively recently, in 1992 to celebrate Himeji City's 100th anniversary. However, it is designed to look like a garden from the Edo period. This area that the garden is on right now used to be the west residence of the Himeji domain. People lived here before. Korakuen is not one big garden as a whole. It's actually divided into 9 smaller gardens. Each has its own special theme, I guess. But I also think because of that, this doesn't feel like one cohesive place to visit. It feels more like a museum in the form of a garden. And since every section is walled off from each other, each individual gardens seem very, very small and cramped. This garden right here is the garden of pine trees. Okay, so I finished visiting all 9 gardens. Because of this layout, it does feel like I'm going through a nature museum or some sort of botanical garden. The atmosphere feels very different from the other Japanese gardens I visited on this trip. So yeah, Korakuen is beautiful, but far from my favorite garden in Japan. That's it for my short half-day trip here in Himeji. I still haven't had anything to eat today, so I'm gonna go find something to eat before heading to Kobe later in the evening. I don't think it's necessary to stay in Himeji for a night, but it's a great place for a day trip if you're coming anywhere from the Kansai region. Is this little white ball supposed to be the mascot of Himeji Castle? I was walking through an alleyway on my way to the train station, and then suddenly there was just this aroma of freshly baked bread. I immediately had to check it out. It smelled so good. And I walked inside, and it turns out it's this small bakery. There's so many different types of bread, sweet, savory. It really is bread paradise right here. I got one savory and one sweet. The sweet one I got has chocolate and raisins, I believe. I'm gonna save that for breakfast tomorrow. Right now, I'm gonna eat the savory one. It's a sausage and sauerkraut bread, sort of German inspired, I guess. The German sausage itself is already so flavorful, you can taste the sauerkraut next to it. It also has a cheesy, thick crust on the outside. Really delicious. I can't wait to try this sweet one as well, but I should probably save it. That was the best random little find. The bread was so delicious. And it's less than a 10-minute walk away from Himeji Castle. So if you like bread, you gotta come check this place out. I believe it's called Lamp Bakery. Okay, now back to the train station and making my way over to Kobe. Heading to Kobe from Himeji is very easy, but if you're going to the most central part of Kobe, just know that you're not actually going to Kobe Station. You're most likely heading to Sanomiya Station. That's like the main transportation hub in Kobe.
After a short train ride, I arrived in Kobe.
Since I only had a light breakfast today and a bread at the bakery, I decided to get something bigger for dinner. I ordered the ramen with extra meat. I mean, I did not expect it to be that much extra meat. They literally coat the entire bowl with chashu. It's covered, I can't even see the bowl anymore. Looks pretty insane. Okay, I'm gonna try this massive bowl of ramen. I think it's a shoyu based ramen. And honestly, I think I should start with the meat. Absolutely melt in your mouth chashu. Usually when you order ramen, they give you like 3 or 4 pieces of chashu max. I ate a couple of pieces already, and there's still 10 pieces of chashu. If you've watched my Japan videos, you'll know that my favorite Japanese dish is tonkotsu ramen. I'm not the biggest fan of shoyu-based ramen. But here I feel like when you eat shoyu ramen, since the broth is so simple, it doesn't have that pork bone tonkotsu flavor, the chashu and the noodles really get to shine. Well, that's a good hearty meal to end day 1 here in Hyogo Prefecture. I think I'm gonna call it a day now. I'm gonna go back to my hotel, and tomorrow I'm gonna explore Kobe. See you guys tomorrow. Good morning from Kobe, a city that I actually like very much. I've been here twice before. When most people think of Kobe, they think of exactly one thing, Kobe beef. But what if you don't want to spend a fortune only to eat 2 bites of some of the most expensive meat in the world? Or what if you're a vegetarian and just don't eat meat at all? Is it still worth coming to Kobe? Well, I certainly think so. I think the atmosphere of the city makes it worth visiting on its own. So today, let me show you some must-visit sites in Kobe. One of the most iconic landmarks here in Kobe is the Ikuta Jinja Shrine, and it's located right in the city center. The shrine is very busy right now in the morning. Apparently this is a popular shrine to go to if you're looking for a relationship.
Whether you're searching for a new romantic relationship, looking to strengthen a current relationship, or wanting to establish a strong connection in a business relationship, this is the shrine to visit.
Look at this, over here there's an entire wall filled with people who are searching for love, or want blessings for their love.
At the same time, it's also a popular shrine for family blessings, safe childbirth, or the healthy growth of a child.
There's also a smaller Inari shrine. You can tell it's an Inari shrine by the series of these red torii gates and of course the fox statues. Now it's time for an activity that seems to appear in every single one of my vlogs, filming a random duck. I think it's a duck living in one of the ponds here. There's something covering its feet, maybe it's injured. I translated what it said on the box and it says under rehabilitation. So yeah, they are taking care of this duck. I just find it kind of funny that he's carrying the duck inside a cardboard box. It's always cool observing these small traditions and rituals when visiting a Japanese shrine. Everyone before they enter, they bow at the torii gate, and then when they exit the shrine, they bow once again. Right near the shrine is the Ikuta Road area. This area there's many restaurants, shops, so I'm going to find something to eat for lunch. Every time I come to Japan, I have to eat at least one meal at my favorite conveyor belt sushi chain, Sushiro. I mean, it's not great sushi, but it's very inexpensive and it satisfies the cravings. It's comfort food. Here in this Sushiro, the conveyor belt doesn't actually move around, it just delivers you the food, and you have to order everything on this tablet instead. I think I actually prefer ordering with a tablet because you don't have to wait and see what food options there are. You just directly choose what you want. feel like there's no need for me to introduce the sushi to you. It's as simple as it gets. Okay, I'm gonna dig in. Time for round 2. I'm not sure if it's just this branch I'm visiting in Kobe, but Sushiro did seem to get a lot more expensive. I remember it used to just be 120 yen per plate starting price. Now it's 150 yen starting price. I ate 8 plates of sushi today and I'm already quite full. I think the total is 1,280 yen. There are many places I want to revisit on this Kobe trip, but I feel like they're all better when it's near sunset or at night. So right now, during the daytime, since this is my last stop on the Japan trip, I'm gonna go find some souvenirs or gifts for friends and family. I'm inside this indoor shopping street area and I'm looking for a Disney store. The Disney stores here in Japan always have very adorable local designs. Donald tempura. I made my way to Kobe Chinatown and my goodness, it is so packed here. The entire population of Kobe is packed here right now. This is starting to feel like the touristy Japan I remember. Kobe Chinatown is called Nanking Machi, named after the city of Nanjing in Jiangsu province. Most of the first Chinese settlers to Japan were from Jiangsu, and of course, many of them from Nanjing. You'll find all sorts of dishes here, for example, Shanghainese xiaolongbao, shengjianbao, things that I love to have in Shanghai. But if you're not going to China, I believe the Shanghainese food here should be very authentic. You can find Cantonese dim sum, Taiwanese guabao, Sichuan dan dan mian. They really have dishes from everywhere. The variety is very impressive. I've been to many Chinatowns around the world, and I think this one might be up there to be one of the most vibrant. The atmosphere reminds me of Chunjie, Spring Festival in China. The atmosphere of Miaohui, which is like temple markets. I am heading to Shanghai after this Japan trip, so it's absolutely unnecessary for me to eat here in Kobe, Chinatown. But I have to say, if you're not going to China and you want Chinese food in Japan, this is the place to come. Nanking Machi got a little bit too busy and overwhelming for my liking, so I'm gonna head somewhere else. I have reached one of my favorite parts in the city, the port of Kobe. This area I'm at right now is called American Park.
Opened to international trade in 1868, the port of Kobe is one of the most important maritime hubs in all of Japan. It transformed this former small fishing village into a major city. The most iconic landmark here and in the whole city is the Kobe Port Tower. The tower has a hyperboloid structure, sort of like a skinny hourglass, and was built using this unique lattice pattern. Its bright red color definitely makes it pop in the cityscape. In 1995, Kobe experienced a major earthquake. While many buildings collapsed near the port, the tower's strong geometric design allowed it to survive almost completely undamaged. Today, all commercial shipping has moved away to nearby islands, and the historical port of Kobe is now entirely an entertainment and recreational area.
The Kobe port area really is a lot more lively than when I last came here around 10 years ago. It has completely transformed already. The landmarks are still all there, but there's a lot of new stuff as well, like this random looking statue. On my way here, I got a Kobe postcard. I'm gonna try to find the exact angle as shown on that postcard. I think it should be near the Harborland area. I literally found the exact angle of this postcard. From the light to the ferry boarding station, it's all here. While many Japanese cities do have seasides, Tokyo, Osaka, they all have port areas, even Hiroshima, where I went to earlier on this trip. But for all of those cities, the life of the city is not at the port area, it's not at the sea. Here in Kobe, the port area is the life of the city. It feels very vibrant, and I think that's what makes it so special here.
The promenade area I'm standing on right now used to be a large JR freight yard. When rail freight in Japan slowly declined, the waterfront was converted into the bustling community space we see here today. The Kobe Harborland Shopping District officially opened in 1992.
As you can see behind me, there still is an industrial part of Kobe Port.
But most of these industrial areas are now located further away from the city center, allowing the residents of the city to enjoy the prime waterfront space. Of course, here you can still see historical remnants, for example, the old signal tower. Whenever people visit Japan for the first time, they always put Kyoto, Osaka as part of their must-travel list. I mean, maybe compared to Kyoto, Kobe doesn't have the world-famous cultural destinations. Kyoto is Japan's cultural capital for a reason. But I feel like compared to a city like Osaka, I'd choose Kobe over Osaka anytime. Kobe feels like a busy, vibrant, big city. You get everything you can possibly want for a big city in the Kansai region. But here you get the mountains and the ocean, which I think is the best of all. There's still so many places I want to show you in Kobe. I'm going to go check them out tomorrow during my last day in Japan, including my favorite night view. But before I show you that view tomorrow, let's enjoy the gorgeous night scenery at the port of Kobe.
This is my last day here in Japan. My first stop in the morning is the Kitano Injinkan, which is a former residence for the foreign settlers here in Kobe. This area is famous for its historical Western Japanese style houses. Even the street signs here seem kind of westernized. Following the port of Kobe opening to international trade in the 1800s, many foreign merchants settled in the area, and they built these amazing looking houses here on this hill. The neighborhood today kind of feels like a European neighborhood, but not based off one European country. There's so many different styles here. There's the French colonial style, Victorian style, all sorts of different European buildings. One of the most iconic ones is without a doubt this one, the Weathercock House. With its gorgeous red bricks, this is definitely the one that stands out the most in this area. It's actually the house of a former German trader. This green building behind me is the Moegi House, home to the former Consul General of the United States. You can even see a US flag tucked away in there. It does kind of remind me of those governor or mayor mansions you see in suburban America. But not the color though, this color is very unique. I've actually been inside many of these houses years back, so I don't think I'm going to pay an entry to go in once again on this trip, but it's just so amazing to walk around this neighborhood because it feels completely different from anywhere else here in Japan. With places like Nanking-machi Chinatown and here in Injinhan, it really does feel like you're traveling the world without leaving Kobe. And it's not a coincidence that there are so many foreign influence enclaves here in the city. It's an important part of Kobe's history. As Kobe was a very important treaty port, there was huge amounts of foreign settlement in this area. Along with places like Yokohama and Nagasaki, Kobe was like an international gateway to modern-day Japan. But unlike Yokohama and Nagasaki, Kobe was not heavily destroyed during World War II, so all of these settlements and traditional buildings are very well preserved.
You may have also noticed the many statues of jazz musicians around here. Kobe was actually the place where jazz music was first introduced to Japan. The Kitano district became a major center for jazz clubs and bars. These statues celebrate this interesting part of Kobe's history.
While this is a very nice neighborhood to visit, just note that the hills can be quite steep. Hiking up to all of the houses is a little bit tiring. While the houses on the hilltop are settled, the English house here, not really. It's decorated with so many Union flags, Santa for Christmas, and I think inside it's a Sherlock Holmes exhibit. So out of the houses in Injinhan I visited before, I do think the Weathercock House and the Moegi House are the ones that you should visit inside. Because those are the ones that are still a bit more traditional, whereas the other houses are turned into themed museums. If you want a beautiful angle to take pictures of the Injinhan area, climb up to this shrine. Here you can see all of these houses and of course the modern Kobe skyline behind it. If you want some gifts for friends and family, this is also a great place to find lots of Kobe-inspired treats. I got some right here. This is a very delicious egg pudding, one of my favorite desserts from Kobe. And also a box of cookies. I'm pretty sure it's matcha, strawberry, and original flavored. Oh my goodness, it's starting to rain. I didn't bring an umbrella. I think I need to try and find somewhere dry to be.
Luckily, the rains didn't last long, and a short lunch break later, I can go outside to explore again.
After a little bit more souvenir shopping in the afternoon, the sun is about to set, and it's time to head to the final stop on this Japan trip, Suwayama Park. And this place actually means a lot to me personally. I'll tell you a little bit more about it when I get there. So I tied my camera over there on the railing to film a time lapse. Very sketchy setup, but hopefully it'll turn out good. So while that's shooting, I guess it's story time. Kobe has always been a city with a lot of sentimental value for me. Over a decade ago, during my high school graduation trip, we came to Kobe. And on the last night of our Kobe trip, we came over here to Suwayama Park, to the Venus Bridge. Just like this is the last night of my Japan trip, of my Kobe trip. It's hard to believe that that was over 10 years ago. Everything just went by like in a blur the past 10 years. During high school, I had a very close group of friends, the boys, and that graduation trip, that Japan trip, was probably the last time I saw all of them together in one place. Obviously, I met the boys individually again throughout the years around the world, but never all of them at the same time in one place. We never had a big reunion. And it did feel very, very bittersweet because you don't know when you're gonna meet these people again after we all go off to college around the world. So coming back here over a decade later, I think all those memories just keep pouring back, you know? But sentimental value aside, I still think Kobe is an amazing city to visit for everyone. Just then, two young guys came over to me. I think they were in their early 20s. And they said they're from Kobe and they love their city very, very much. They don't like the big cities around them. They're not a fan of Osaka. They like Kobe because you can have the mountains where we're on right now, the hillside, the mountains. In the middle is the town, the city. And then further into the distance is the ocean. This structure, this layout is why they love Kobe so much. And I think that really sums up why I think Kobe is such an amazing city as well. It's no doubt a big city, but it doesn't feel like Osaka, it doesn't feel like Tokyo. So to end this video, I'll leave you guys with these amazing views of the Kobe nightscape. If you're new here, do consider subscribing to JHMedium for more travel videos coming soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.